Yeah, screw it. Why not? Why not make a video predicting Devil May Cry 6? Good evening, peoples. Jesse's Mansion here. And for those who didn't read my channel name, I love Luigi's Mansion. But you know what else I love? 3 words. This game franchise helped me get through my high school years, and to say that I'm forever grateful for finding this treasure by Capcom way back when would be a severe understatement. The first game is probably my most played out of the bunch. The second game is there, I suppose. The third game is unarguably the best in the franchise, even coming from me who mainly plays the first game. The fourth game is also there, but hey, it introduced Nero to us, so that makes it slightly better than the second game. And the fifth and most recent game I beat in 2 days. Because like every Devil May Cry fan back then, I was that frickin' desperate. And I'll take it any day of the year over the more recent Resident Evil games. Listen, I am all for playing the first 4 classic Resident Evil games for the very first time. But that franchise has been so milked to death to a point that it might as well not even exist to me. Especially with their overrated remakes. Capcom, I swear to God, if your next project is either Resident Evil 9 or another straight up Resident Evil remake, I'm going to lose my mind. But I digress. Let's all ignore the crushing reality that's probably going to come from not just Capcom, but video game companies as a whole, and pretend that Devil May Cry 6 just got announced, and it's up to Capcom themselves to make this game. But before we do, allow me to give a quick shout out to the home slice of cherry pie himself, Matty Abraham. If it weren't for him and his own video predicting Incredibles 3, I would have never gotten inspired to make this video. So before continuing to watch my video, do me a quick favor and check out his Incredibles 3 video and his channel as well. And if you're extra generous, consider subscribing to him. With that being said, let's make a game.
I'm absolutely crazy about it!
Yes, you read that right. We're pulling a Smash Ultimate and bringing every playable character from previous games back. Dante, Trish, Lucia, Virgil, Lady, Nero, and even V from the 5th game. Yes, I know that he merged with yours in the remake Virgil. Don't care. Bring him back, gosh flip. Also, we can make new characters, both existing and new, like Nico becoming a new fully playable character, making a brand new character from scratch to potentially succeed Nero, should Devil May Cry become a giant franchise like Resident Evil or Street Fighter, and if we're looking to get this party extra crazy, we could find a way to bring Credo from Devil May Cry 4 back from the dead and turn him into a playable character. Either that, or make him a playable character once you beat the main campaign. Alright, we have 7 returning characters, 2 new existing characters, and 1 brand new character from scratch. But wait, you're probably wondering, who's this brand new character? Well, as much as I want to add my own Brat Gang OC into this hypothetical sequel, I'm going to leave that up to y'all's imagination. But for this video, yes. I'm going with my actual Devil May Cry OC, except I'm renaming him Edward. As for Edward's playstyle, he's going to be inspired by Balthazar Brat from Despicable Me 3, and have a cryokinetic Keytar along with his beam katana Prince Candy, along with a various moveset of 80s style devil arms. Explosive Rubik's Cubes, an elemental bladed glove, and what the flip, give him the Transformers mech style suit that he could put on during specific missions of the game, or even act as a substitute for his devil trigger. But now, onto the plot of the game. Five years after the events of Devil May Cry 5, Nero and Kyrie are about to get married, and they invite everyone who's ever joined Dante on his adventures to their wedding. Trish, Lucia, Lady, Nico, a new recruit, that being Edward himself, and even Morrison. The week before their wedding, Kyrie suggests that Nero also invite Dante and Virgil, despite the two literally being trapped in the underworld forever. Nero rejects this idea at first, saying that he can't, but then V, having been sent by Virgil from the underworld, unexpectedly turns up, now his own character without needing to merge back with Urizen, informing everyone that the world is once again in grave danger and that the real Demon King Mundus plans to return, bringing hell on Earth. All the Devil Hunters, even Nero, accept this job and agree to travel with V to save Dante and Virgil and stop Mundus. This could lead to really cool interactions between the characters as they travel to the underworld, like Edward and V beginning a friendship and Edward learning more about V's past and beyond. Nero becoming an arrogant rival and mentor to Edward because he is secretly still refusing to forgive Virgil for what he did to his demonic arm in the last game. Trish talking to Lucia about what they're going to do after they save the world as the group's journey progresses. And even Nico building a new Kalina on bazooka for Lady and the Transformer-style mech suit for Edward that I mentioned earlier. We could even add a big third act breakup where Nero becomes a boss for Edward to fight, when Edward asks if Nero's stubbornness and anger is what Kyrie would want. After all, Dante and Virgil were both bosses for Nero to fight in both Devil May Cry 4 and 5 in the past. After the boss fight, Edward and the gang leave Nero behind to think about his actions, and after some encouraging words from Credo, either alive or in spirit talking to him, that's when we'll meet Dante and Virgil again. Nero, having finally reunited with the Sparta twins, and, after having been through enough pain and grief, finally comes to accept Virgil as his dad, and everything will be fine and happy. Except... Edward rushes back to Nero and informs him, along with Dante and Virgil, that while confronting Mundus, everyone else minus Edward, who escaped, became subdued and corrupted by him and turned into his generals to lead his take over the human world. This is where we'll get up to 2 to 3 mini bloody palace boss rush levels, where Dante, Virgil, Nero, and Edward have to team up and save everyone else. After they do rescue everyone else, they all regroup and go to confront Mundus, who had already begun to take over of Earth. Before the final battle, you'll have the ability to choose your Devil Hunter, similar to Taboo's boss fight in the Subspace Emissary in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, before taking on Mundus himself. After the final battle, and with Mundus finally dead, or vowing to return depending on what happens, everyone returns home and Nero and Kyrie finally get married, with everyone they had invited, plus Dante and Virgil watching from the crowd, and they all live happily ever after. And side note, I know side plots are hard to include in fiction overall, but there could even be a side plot with Edward meeting a succubus from the underworld and they start a relationship of their own. Hell, we could even make her a secret playable character exclusive to the story mode. And that would be my ideal plot for Devil May Cry 6. So, we got our characters and we got our story mode. And now, last but not least, what kind of modes would I incorporate into this hypothetical game? Of course we can't have a Devil May Cry game without adding Bloody Palace, obviously, but the way I would do it this time around is kind of like an actual arcade ladder in fighting games. And when you get to the penultimate level, or final level depending what you guys think, we could add a rival system into the game, similar to what PlayStation All-Stars did. First off, the two obvious picks, Dante and Virgil, and Edward and Nero. Next, Credo and Lucia were both used by their boss, so they would go great as rivals. Then Lady and Nico would face off to find out who's superior between the Wielder and the Smith. And finally, Trish and V are rivals instead of modern reincarnations of their past selves. Trish being Dante and Virgil's mother Eva, and V actually being Virgil's human self. As for other modes, we could also incorporate a 2-player battle mode, except with just fighting each other. They could also fight off hordes of demons as well and then fight each other at the end. And just think about the endless intro dialogue the characters could say to each other. Dante can make a Star Wars reference to Edward, telling him that he is actually his father. Lady and Nico could throw Ryu and Ken-style frosts at one another, and even Credo and Virgil could interact, given they're both voiced by Daniel Southworth. Just imagine this intro dialogue. Haven't we met? No, but I know we're the same. Somehow. If that example isn't worth dreaming about, then I don't know what is. In conclusion, is this game going to happen? Probably not. After all, I'm not a Capcom executive, so I wouldn't know. Besides, Devil May Cry 5 ended on a pretty satisfactory note, so I wouldn't expect this franchise to come back anytime soon. Sure, they can keep milking franchises like Resident Evil to the bitter end, and from the looks of it, they're probably gonna. But me, I'm not gonna focus on the crushing reality, and by there, along with all the other studios, is overrated crap. No. I'm gonna keep being myself and keep on focusing more and more on the classics. And hey, maybe it's not gonna be so bad. After all, they did announce Okami 2 at the Game Awards last year, so about time they did that, and more power to Capcom for that. But that's all the time we have today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that hubba bubba. Until next time. Jackpot. And good night.